Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Now today I'm going to go over some battery saving tips for your Samsung S23 phone. Now I am going to show you guys lots of settings that you can change in this video to prolong your battery life, but you don't have to follow all of these steps. Just pick and choose which ones work best for you and your lifestyle, and you should be good to go. But now let's get into the video. Now, the first thing you can do on your phone to save some battery life is to disable Wi-Fi and Bluetooth when you're not using it. So if you're maybe going out for the night, you can probably disable your Wi-Fi if you know you're not going to be connecting to any Wi-Fi while you're out. And that's going to save you some battery because as you're out and about and walking around, your phone is going to pick up all sorts of Wi-Fi connections from every little store and shop and coffee house as you're walking around, and it's just going to be continuously scanning for Wi-Fi networks. And if you're not using any Bluetooth devices, you can go ahead and disable that for the same reason. The next thing you can do to save some battery life is to enable dark mode. So you can see my phone is in dark mode and everything is black. And the reason for this is that the Samsung S23 phone has an OLED display, and that means that there's no backlight that's lighting this phone. So anything that's in black, these pixels are actually off. They're not using any power. So if we go into our phone's display and we change this to light mode, you can see that everything lights up and there are a lot more pixels that are being activated to light your display. So setting it to dark mode can definitely save you a lot of battery. And while we're under the display settings, the next thing we're going to do is go to screen resolution. And in here, if you have WQHD enabled, try switching this over to full HD. This is a lower resolution, so the image on your phone won't look as sharp. But if you honestly can't tell the difference between these two, I honestly can't unless I'm looking really closely, then you can go ahead and switch this to full HD. And what it's going to do is save you a little bit of battery. So you can see that it uses moderate battery usage, but if we go to WQHD, it says it uses the most battery. Now there's another setting under display. If we go to motion smoothness, you need to make a decision whether you want to use adaptive or standard. So adaptive is of course the ability for your phone to go all the way up to 120 hertz refresh rate, and that is what makes your phone look really nice and smooth. It's that fast refresh rate that makes everything look really nice, especially when you're watching video. But it goes all the way up to 120 hertz versus the standard 60 hertz. So your screen is refreshing at twice the speed every second. So that's definitely going to eat more battery. And again, if you're not really somebody who notices that smooth display, or maybe you prioritize battery life over that smooth display, then standard is probably a good option for you as you're going to save a lot of battery life. Also under display, if you scroll down a little bit to screen timeout, what you should do in here is set this to as low as possible. And what this will do is auto lock your screen after a certain amount of time passes. Now I have mine set to 5 minutes just because I'm shooting these videos. I don't want my phone to constantly be turning off on me. But if you don't have any reason to keep your display on for a long time, I definitely suggest you choose between 15 or 30 seconds because obviously the less time your display spends being on, the less battery it's using. All right, guys, and one more setting here in the display settings, you can see towards the top, there's this toggle here for extra brightness. And what this will do is increase the maximum brightness of your phone. So if you toggle this on, your phone will get brighter. And the reason for this is it's really nice if you're using your phone outside in bright daylight and it might be hard to see your phone. Bringing up the brightness a little bit will help you see the display a little bit better. But you can see that it says this uses more battery. So if you don't need this, then I definitely suggest you disable it. That's going to save you some more battery. Now, the next thing we're going to do is make some changes to our always on display. Since it's always on, it does use a little bit of battery. It's showing us time, the date, our battery, any unread notifications, and our fingerprint. So it's always on, and that uses a little bit of battery. So what we're going to do is go into our phone's settings, tap on the search icon, and then search for always on display. Tap on it and then go into our always on display settings. And in here, you see we have a few options. So currently I have this set to show always. So my display will always be on, but we can actually change this to tap to show. Now that's a good alternative, but what you can also do is show as scheduled. I really like that there's this option because maybe you don't want your always on display to show in the daytime, but maybe you rely on your phone as a clock at night. If you ever wake up at night and you need to see what time it is, you can just always look at the always on display. And instead of having to tap to show that display, you can just schedule when you want the always on display to work. So you can set your start time and your end time. Just set these between the times that you usually go to sleep, and your always on display will only be activated during those times. And this is definitely the best of both worlds because your always on display isn't constantly on, draining your battery, but it is on when you need it. Alright guys, now the next thing we're going to do is disable 5G on our phone. Now before I tell you why we do that, I'm going to show you what you need to do. Tap on connections in your settings, go to mobile networks, and then tap on network mode. And you see right there we have 5G LTE, but under that we just have LTE without the 5G option. Now the reason I'm telling you to disable 5G is because you're probably not getting the 5G speeds that you think you're getting. So you've probably heard about those blazing fast 5G connection speeds. Well, those are known as millimeter wave 5G, and they're only available in a very few places in the world. But sub-6 5G, which is what most of us are getting, and LTE speeds are almost identical, but sub-6 5G does use more battery life. So unless you know you're getting millimeter wave 5G speeds and you actually need those speeds, I highly suggest you just switch this to LTE. I promise you, you won't even notice a difference in your speed, but your battery will thank you. Now, the next thing we're gonna do is go back one in our settings and then scroll up to Wi-Fi, tap on your Wi-Fi, and then hit these three dots up here and tap on Intelligent Wi-Fi. And in here, if you go down a little bit to the bottom, you can see there's this Wi-Fi power saving mode. And what it says is it will reduce battery use by analyzing Wi-Fi traffic patterns. So go ahead and enable this. It's just going to optimize the way your Wi-Fi works to save you a little bit of battery. And the next thing we're going to do is go back to our connections page and then scroll down to the bottom until you see more connection settings. And then up here, just disable this nearby device scanning. All it does is scan for all the devices around you. So if you have a whole bunch of Bluetooth speakers or headphones or earphones, your device is constantly scanning for them. You don't really need it to keep pinging those. So go ahead and disable that. And don't worry, you'll still be able to connect to Bluetooth devices. It'll just stop scanning for all sorts of devices that are located nearby. All right, guys, now the next thing we're going to do is disable adaptive brightness. So if you scroll down and then go to your brightness bar here, hit on these three dots, you'll see adaptive brightness right there. Now, if you enable this, your phone will control the brightness level for you. So it will dim your screen and brighten up your screen by itself. Now, while this is convenient because your phone kind of takes care of that for you and you don't need to keep playing with the brightness adjustment, I do find that the phone over brightens my screen. I don't really need it as bright as my phone usually makes it. And having your brightness levels more than they need to be is obviously going to affect your battery. So I like to keep this manual and keep my brightness a little bit lower. So unless you like the convenience of your phone controlling it for you, go ahead and disable adaptive brightness. All right, now the next thing we're going to do is go into our phone's settings. Scroll down to advanced features and then look for video brightness is down here at the bottom. If we tap into here, you can see that we have two options here. Now, usually I like to have mine set on bright because this makes the videos that you watch in all of these applications a little bit more bright and it just gives you more vivid colors. So it is a better viewing experience. But as we know, brighter screens mean more battery usage. So what you can do is just set this to normal and that will use a little bit less battery. Or what you can do instead is just control which apps actually have access to this extra bright feature. So if maybe you only want this on Netflix and not on any other applications, you can go ahead and disable that and then just leave it only for the applications that you want. So definitely go through here and make those adjustments for yourself. All right, next in our settings, what we're going to do is scroll down to battery and device care. And then down here, you'll see auto optimize. So we're going to tap into here and we're going to enable auto optimize. And what that's going to do is give our phone a reboot when needed. So your phone will automatically restart when you're not using it. Clear your cache and clear out anything that's bogging down your phone and just give it a nice refresh. And that's going to keep your phone optimized and obviously use less battery. Now go back to your battery and device care and in here tap on battery. And then right here, you'll see this option that says background usage limits. If we tap into here, there's a toggle here that says put unused apps to sleep. Make sure you have this enabled and it will limit the battery usage for apps that you don't use often. So we obviously have lots of applications on our phone, but if there's a lot of apps that you downloaded a long time ago or maybe you don't use as often, it's going to force those to sleep and they're going to be a lot less taxing on your battery. So this is definitely an important feature. Hey guys, Future Alex jumping into the video here because I forgot to mention this one really powerful battery saving feature. So if you go into your battery and device care in your settings and then tap on your battery and then scroll down to the bottom, you'll see more battery settings. If you tap into here, there's this new feature here called performance profile. So if you tap into here, you see by default, it's set to standard. But if you want to save some battery life, you can set this to light. And what it will do is prioritize battery life and cooling efficiency over processing speed. So essentially switching over to this is a really simple way to allow your phone to focus on battery life rather than processing power. And what I really like about this is you might be wondering, well, what if I want to play games? I don't want to have to keep switching between these. Well, you don't have to because down here it says this setting doesn't apply to games. So that's really nice. You don't have to worry about your games not running as smooth as possible because this will not apply to gaming. So you can game on while saving battery power. All right, now back to the video. All right, guys, now the next thing you can do to start immediately saving battery life on your phone is to enable power saving mode. So you can see if you scroll down into your quick settings, you have this toggle here that enables power saving. And if we tap into here, you can see exactly what it does. When we enable it, it's going to turn off our always on display, limit the CPU speeds to 70% of capacity, decrease our brightness a little bit, turn off 5G, and you can see up here, it will also change our motion smoothness to a maximum refresh rate of 60 Hertz. So if your phone is starting to run low on battery and you know you're not going to get to a charger anytime soon, you can always manually enable power saving mode, and that's going to save you some battery, which is always nice. But we can actually take this a step further and automate this process, so we don't need to keep an eye on our battery. Our phone will just enable this automatically on its own. And to do that, we need to create a routine, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So if we go back into our phone settings and then find modes and routines, tap into here, and you can see that you can create some routines here. And I already have a few set up here. And if I tap into this low battery one, you can see that I created a routine that when my phone is below 30% battery, it will automatically turn on power saving mode. So now if my phone ever drops below 30% and I don't notice it, my phone will automatically enable power saving mode, and I don't need to worry about having to do it myself. I've also set up a few other routines here that help with battery. So if we tap into this one, you can see that for this routine, if it's between 12 a.m. and 7 a.m., which is when I'm sleeping, and my phone is not charging, it will automatically enable power saving mode. So if I'm sleeping and I forgot to plug my phone into the charger, it's going to enable power saving mode between this time. And that's just going to help me preserve as much battery as possible so that I'm not waking up next morning to a dead phone. I also have another routine here for night charging that if I do remember to plug my phone in for a night charge, it will turn off fast charging and just slowly charge my phone to full, because we don't need fast charging at night because my phone has hours and hours and hours to charge, and fast charging isn't necessarily the best for your battery. So having fast charging off at night will be better for my battery for years to come in the long run. So you can see that these routines are really powerful. There's so many cool things that you can set up here. I actually made a separate video about routines and how to set up a routine. So if you want to check that out, I'll leave a link in the description below. So definitely go ahead and watch that video. All right, guys, now that we've made all these changes to prolong our phone's battery life, there's one more thing I want you to check out. So if you go into your phone settings, tap on the search icon, and in here type protect battery. There's an option down here at the bottom that says protect battery. And if you enable this, what it will do is limit your maximum charge to 85%. So your phone will not charge to 100%, because when it comes to lithium ion batteries, they don't like to be fully charged, but they also don't like to be fully discharged. So keeping it between around 20 and 80% is the best case scenario for your phone. And if you plan to keep your phone for many years to come, this is definitely an important feature that will keep your battery as healthy as possible, because your battery is the lifeline of your phone. If your battery starts going bad, your phone is going to have a really hard time keeping a charge and getting through the day. But of course, you are going to lose on some battery capacity because your phone will not charge over 85%. But if you find that even with a maximum charge capacity of 85%, you are still able to get through the day just fine, then this is definitely an option that you can consider. And that's going to do it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed and you learned something. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe for future videos to come, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.